English before. So I wasn't good. My fluency in English was bad. But today I could communicate and people can hear me. Likewise, I can also hear people. So sign language has become a human right because it's not a privilege, but it is a necessity. It is work in progress. Today, we're having this conversation because sign language has been recognized as a language far back 2018. Does it mean that the deaf community existed at 2018? No. It just means that the world has awakened to it because media professionals like you are giving platforms for us to they have this conversation, this dialogue, and by so doing, we are also changing the dialogue. So how aware, really, I don't have instances to say this is it, but I kid you not, we are not where we used to be, even though we are not where we want to be in terms of creating that awareness. By integrating sign language into such training, he or she can be empowered, their voice can be heard, they can be valued, they can be appreciated, and they can have a seat on the table because I have an awareness. Government have policies. And one of the conversations we had today during the commemoration proper in terms of the celebration we had, as a result, someone said, the new competition is collaboration. So if you are not collaborating, if we don't see it from the perspective of multi-sectoral approach and just leaving it to government, government will always turn out. They sit in meetings, they sit in symposium, they sit in consortium and all those big names and come up with policies. Implementation is still far. So what's happening is that we are the government. It takes a village. So you are that village. I am that village. So government is us. And then for government, in terms of positioning, should please, we advocate for the implementation of policies, enforcement of those implementation, providing access for sign language to be given at all forums, for schools to be accessible, is to, like somebody said today, and we all agree, to make sign language a language that can be learned. It was actually the GM of LASODA that left to her that sign language should be a must in every curriculum, and we quite agree. So as we make awareness available to all, accessible to all, because this interview, without captioning or subtitling it or providing a sign language interpreter, a young deaf person, which is our population, will not be able to hear it in a way that he or she is passionate enough to drive that conversation in his own sphere of influence. I kid you not, today, I serve in an all-deaf church as part of my commitment to this work. I serve in an all-deaf church, choir, usher, pastor, everybody, songs, everything is done in sign language, ensuring that sign language is signed everywhere. Deaf people are free to use their language. You and I learn how to sign and communicate with them and ensure that videos, things are accessible, communication is provided in an accessible manner. Truly just leave no one behind. So that's what this year is talking about. Seeing it from the perspective of, we are not doing them a favor. We are providing access. We are providing rights. We are ensuring that, look, you deserve this thing and you have to get it at whatever form. Even though we don't also want to build an entitled mentality, doing it from the place of empathy, understanding that we are all a work in progress, part time. World Federation for the Deaf and the UN came up and said, let's discuss sign language as a right, as a full right.
For her, inclusion is not a privilege, but a right, and she believes society must give the deaf community a seat at the table. I'm Onyeka Ogolo, reporting for VOP TV.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Apelon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, please discuss.
And it's Hakim Ziyech who puts the Atlas.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not a spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
From crowded city streets to rural communities, from river banks to oceans, individual families and organizations are joining hands to rid our planet of waste. Plastic pollution, litters, and unmanaged waste have become major threats to both human health and biodiversity. But today proves that the collective action can bring real change. Let's hear from an expert who is an SDGG advocate and the founder of EcoCity Vision, Comfort Omolara Alabi.
The World Cleanup Day is a global movement that brings millions of people together to take actions against waste. And it is significant because it is to show that waste isn't just a local problem, but a global one that affects our health, environment, and economy. In today's world, where 2 billion tons of waste are being generated every year, it is important to raise awareness concerning this, encourage collective responsibility, and inspire long-term behavioral change towards a cleaner and more sustainable future or planet. Poor waste management has caused a lot of environmental challenges like flooding, which is due to the blocked drainages, air pollution from open burning of waste, contamination of water, which has led to increase in diseases like cholera and malaria. It also contributes to climate change because decomposing of waste releases greenhouse gases like methane, CO2, and these gases trap it in the atmosphere, which causes natural disasters like flooding and Ukraine. In Nigeria, some major challenges we faced when it comes to waste management is the inadequate waste collection system. We don't have enough of waste collection services, and this has led to uncollected waste. And there's also low public awareness. People don't even know about the importance of proper waste disposal. And one problem again is the poor recycling facility. There are not enough facilities, and this has led to so many waste going to the landfill, and it has brought upon pressure on the landfill. And also lastly, it's the indiscriminate dumping, whereby people just dump their waste anywhere, and this has led to so many environmental challenges. It is important we take care of our environment because there are a lot of things happening in our environment that we are not aware of, and waste is something that is very harmful to the environment, and which many people don't even know about the harmful effects. We have a lot of people going through health challenges, but they don't know that the things happening in their environment are actually the one causing it. So I feel like if you are hygienic and then we are taking care of our environment, it is going to like bring more of like good health, and we don't have to spend money on taking care of our health every time.
The aim of this day is not just to pick up trash, but to raise awareness about the danger of plastic pollution, poor waste management, and unsustainable consumption habits. According to the United Nations, about 2 billion tons of municipal waste are generated each year, much of it ending up in the ocean and landfills, threatening wildlife and human health. We also spoke to the assistant of the Eco City Vision, Okpeyemi Boluwatife Afuwakwe.
So globally, it started in Estonia in 2008, where everyone has to like rush in to clean up the community in less than 5 hours. Then from there, we started locally at Nigeria, where over 60 million volunteered annually to clean up the community. And this is where Eco City Vision comes in, where everyone, both the community-based cities, the NGOs, the students, and group of people came in to clean up the community. This is what happened daily, I would say. So the plastics have affected everyone mostly, especially in my community where I've seen both rural areas and urban areas. It's like it affects us both harmful, especially for our health, where we have to take plastic as something that we have to reuse, recycle, and reduce. One thing I would say is we have to use the 3 R's, which is called recycle, reuse, and reduce. When you take care of these things, you know how to level out your plastics and not to affect human health. I feel like when you are taking out your, let's say the reuse of bags, reuse of plastics and cans and nylons, it helps us to reduce daily out footprint. When we are taking care of that and we are using it to reuse our things, it makes sure that everything is in a balanced way. My advice to people is, even if the community are not doing it, we can take up this challenge to clean up our community. It is what we do in Eco City Vision. And yeah, a lot of people have come and say, we want to volunteer for this. We have to make the community clean, even if the government are not doing anything. This is my advice to you all. You can take 2 or more 3 people, clean up your community so that it will not affect our health. And this is what we have to do daily. So yeah, to prevent our health.
World Clean Up Day is more than just an event. It's a reminder that the planet is our shared home. The real task is not just cleaning once a year, but building a lasting culture of responsibility and sustainability. Victoria Ogbaki for Voice of the People TV.
It begins with every one of us. This is our environment, this is our town, this is our community. And the most important thing is that we have to get our environment clean. Health is wealth.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOPTV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOPTV, Voice of the People Television.
Ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOPTV, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV, channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
I'm Sarah Nystrom from Sweden, aka Chief Omobowale, Communication Queen. Keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, I'm Samantha Jacobs, representing the States. Miami's in the house, and I want to make a shout out to VOP TV. I'm a humanitarian, and I'm also a rep in the film industry and the art industry. I help dreams come true, and I help you keep on that path. Shout out to VOP TV because you're helping people stay on their path too. Cheers.
All right, my name is John Odibo. Keep watching Voice of the People because it's a fantastic station to be with all the time. Thank you very much.
My name is Pastor Elvis Siru, the convener of the Voice Achievers Award, and keep watching VOP. Yes, that is the channel for all the people. No color, no race. Thank you so much.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, this is Abbas Sunkan from the Netherlands. I am a designer and I'm here in Eco Hotel and Suits. Keep watching VOP. The voice of the people. Don't touch that dial.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future.
TV, entertainment like never before.
In a world where power shifts its every headlines, news breaks and events happens, We bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is Africa News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
From the views on the streets,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
A very good evening to you, Nigeria, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Issues on Voice of the People Television, where we bring you the most important and pressing issues shaping our nation today. I am your host, Nenna Ndomdioto. Today on the Issues, we're examining the complexities of Nigeria's politics and governance, from Atiku faulting delay in electoral amendment and warning that 2027 elections is at risk, to Rivers Chief Judge refusing to probe Fubara. Also, Kaduna abductions draw international outcry. And finally, Okonjo-Iweala urges federal government to court global investors. Join us as we break down the fact and provide context to help you stay informed. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll dig deeper into these topics. Don't go away. Glad to have you back. Let's dive straight into today's discussion. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has accused the Senate of deliberately frustrating efforts to amend the Electoral Act 2022, warning that continued delays could undermine the credibility of the 2027 general elections. In a statement on Thursday, Atiku said loopholes in the current Electoral Act was a major setback to the 2023 elections, arguing that they enabled widespread electoral malpractice and made it difficult for petitioners to prove their cases in court. He stressed that urgent legislative action was required if similar challenges were to be avoided in the 2027 general elections. Atiku called on lawmakers to prioritize consensus, transparency, and the independence of the electoral process, warning that flawed reforms could destabilize the political environment ahead of 2027. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by two distinguished guests who will be joining us virtually. We have Comrade Godspa Okumbo, who is the Secretary General of Edo Civil Society Organizations. I'm glad to have you join us, Godspa. Also joining us,
the network is very bad, but I'll manage. Good evening, welcome viewers. Good evening to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us as well. Okay, we'll have another guest who will be joining us later on in the show. Let me start with you, Godspa. With all of this, article is warning about the delay in the electoral amendment act. Let me first ask you, do you think that this warning about the 2027 elections being at risk, is it a genuine democratic concern for Atiku, or is it just because he knows that he's going to run president and he wants going to run for president and he wants to really, really secure himself appropriately?
Okay. Well, we already know our politicians as far as Nigeria politics is concerned. For you, I think you know, and I know, Atiku has been on the list of aspirants to become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And on that ground, whatever he's doing is for him to have his way. The issue as stated by him is a clear proof that he don't want any issues that will work against him on the forthcoming election. And yes, aside what Atiku have said, we all need to understand that we are in democracy, our electoral act needs to be amended. That is one on its own. I've also gone through the electoral act. As far as a country is concerned, there should be a regular checkup on certain act or laws, as the case may be in Nigeria, because times are changing. So on that note, the electoral act, the issue of we have the capturing issue at some time. So many things need to be looked into, whether to be removed or to be added. So that is on one side. But for Atiku, it is purely selfish. What he's doing, we all know that he wants to become the president as far as Nigeria is concerned. And yes, it's not bad on his own part to point out some of those loopholes, like he said, so that they can be addressed, if that would be good and easy for him. I think I don't want to go through some of the things that he said that he actually that caused a setback to some of them aspirants who could not pursue their case in court. I think this is based on what the electoral act must have caused. So on his own part, he's doing what he has to do as a politician. And I don't want to criticize him, but I know it's a selfish thing. It's not for the good of Nigeria. It's not as if he's talking as somebody who is not contesting so that the election will be a free and fair thing. So he's talking on his own. But as Nigerians, I am saying here, if the electoral act needs to be amended, the lawmaker should do whatever they can and let the public be aware as well, so that can be done.
Okay, do you actually think that the lawmakers are deliberately, frustrating the effort to amend this electoral act?
As far as politics is concerned in Nigeria, anything can be possible. Recall that everybody I think, if not everybody, majority of our politicians today are all, working for the government of the day. And I'm still sure the majority of them want 2027 to be for our already our president, And if that is May, then it is not new to say that our lawmakers are deliberately. Because if the electoral act is due for amendment, what else will be holding them back? So probably they are just trying to see how they will cut corners. They are trying. It's our usual thing. Everything we are going to talk here today is what has been on ground. If I want to go back to history, you will see that other governments in their time where they are supposed to amend the electoral act, they also have some reasons to delay and what have you. So it may be, I don't want to say it is, but I'm sure it's possible that yes, the lawmakers are deliberately trying, to ignore that process.
Okay, you actually responded to a part of this question I'm going to ask earlier on, but I want to speak more specifically about it. Are there specific electoral amendments that we need, that the Senate or Nigeria basically needs to focus more on to ensure the credibility of 2027 elections?
Okay, if you ask me, I think, although I'm not with the electoral act, I would have pointed out some areas, but generally, yes, there are areas that need to be attended to on the electoral act. There are areas, like I try to point out, the beavers, I was a representative of Edo State when the last, I think, the Constitution amendment. We did have a presentation when the House of Representatives, National House of Representatives, was in Bayelsa, I think some months ago. And one of our area of concern is that the Electoral Act, some areas should be amended. About this electronic voting system, we have not settled that aspect. We have not. Aside that, there are other things, but this particularly, because we keep having these issues. Okay, let's do it. By the time we get to feed on the election day, a different thing will happen. Sometimes the thing is not working. So if we are not using that, if it is something else, if we are using it how to, succeed going forward, that should be looked at. And all of this calls for the amendment of that electoral act.
Okay, I'm sure that, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. Although the network is bad, but yes.
Okay, so as a member of a CSO, which I know that, well, you even mentioned it already, that you were part of the last election, and I'm sure that you are part of those who get to monitor elections. We've seen in many cases in this country, it was also experienced during this the last election in Anambra State. We've seen vote buying, which has become like a big problem in our nation today. But how do you think that we can begin to tackle this issue of vote buying that has actually marred our electoral process?
Okay, thank you. The issue of vote buying, although when I say I've been a representative of my organization as the Secretary General of Edo CSO, and I've monitored several elections. But when I talk about submission, I was referring to the amendment of the 1999 Constitution, the review. Then I was in Bayelsa. But aside that, if you ask me, what should we do concerning vote buying, this has to do with Nigerians. We keep talking about this now. Nigerians need to wake up and understand that they must have grown that mind of expecting money during election. Because there are weaknesses though. There are weaknesses, there are reasons to that. But I don't want to agree to the fact that people are hungry and that is enough for them to now go and say, give me money, I'll vote for you. So Nigerians need to wake up that taking money from any politician just to vote for them is not doing the country good. So that is for one side. The other side is our law enforcement agency, especially the EFCC. I think some time ago we visited the EFCC and we keep telling them about what steps they need to take during election. It is not after election or when election is almost closing, we want to start doing certain things. Be on ground. Be on ground to make sure that people will feel the presence of the security agents who are saddled with the responsibility to arrest or prosecute vote buyers and also vote sellers. So all of these things need to be put in place so that on that election day, you are coming in to vote, you already know there are security presence who are monitoring the process or whatever you are going to do there as a citizen and as an aspirant, as a party. Because this vote buying, most parties are involved. I don't want to say all, but most of these politicians, their parties are involved. So Nigerians first need to draw the line and be at one side. If you are going to cast your vote, be sure that you have understanding of the person you want to vote for and go there and do it, whether the person knows you or not. So this has to do with Nigeria, please. It has to do with us.
Okay, one of the things Matiko said while he was talking, he actually warned that failure to amend the law ahead of 2027 would amount to a deliberate attempt to compromise the electoral process. But I want to ask you, do you actually think, with all of what we have, that can INEC realistically deliver credible elections if the Electoral Act is eventually not amended?
Our election will still come and go just like others. Even though they amend it, I'm not going to be here and tell you the amendment is the solution. We have way other problem in Nigeria affecting our electoral process. Yes. So if they did not, it will still be like, and they did not amend the electoral act that Tinubu have won election. You see, so what I can say here is this: they need to amend it for record's sake, and at least there are reasons why they have to. It's due for it. But whether they do it or not does not guarantee anybody winning, because Nigeria is a funny state right now. So many things are happening. So whether they amend or not, that does not mean one particular person is sure. I know what Atiku is saying is to be at the safer side. At least, no matter what happens, let them amend it so that we'll still go and try our best. I think that is the general message he's trying to send. When he talks about some loopholes, and his fear is that if they do not amend it, then it's as if some person are having upper hand. I don't know the extent he was even referring to, but all I know is that the Electoral Act needs to be amended, and it's not for anybody's good, it's for the overall good of the country. And even though they amend it, I think we will still come back if it did not win and still say so many things. So let's leave that. Whether they amend or not, the election will come and go.
Okay, while you were talking, you made mention of, you said we have other problems that are bedeviling our elections or bedeviling our electoral process. So what are those problems? Because you made mention of that. So what are those things that you think, aside from the electoral reforms, which everybody has been saying that there's a need for the Electoral Act to be amended, but you were saying that there are more deeper issues than just amending our Electoral Act. So what are those issues?
I think in the recent or past election, we have also account of, I don't want to say, I say talks, some kind of rascals who came and caused violence and just distract the scene, and all those. These are some of the avenue where we have results that one cannot account for. Now, the Electoral Act is one thing. It has to deal with, especially on what the items, the machines, the processes for the election. The Electoral Act as well also, as far as the area of tribunal, electoral, when after the election, any political party or an individual aspirant has an issue and we actually want to ventilate, the Electoral Act is taking care of these things. Now, what about the fee on that day? Most of the elections that many persons have lost or have won, Electoral Act did not guide it. So many things happen on that day. So what I'm trying to say is this actually concerns our security agents. Because on that day now, even the police you will see, they will just throw away face, they will stay somewhere. The same thing with other security agents. The whole place will be so unsafe, and so many things happen in this process because people think they have upper hand with arms and with cash will now begin to take charge of that day. I know what I'm trying to say. So we, as they are trying to amend the electoral act, the security agent, I think recently Tinubu, our president, has released, or according to the budget for INEC, billions. What are they doing to equip our security agents to be sure that on that day they are going to stand and do justice, so that the election will be a free and fair indeed. So that is one thing we should look at, the security.
So what I hear you say is that security is actually paramount. Like the role our security agencies play is paramount in ensuring that our electoral process becomes very credible. It's not just about what the electoral amendment law, it's not just about the reforms or whatever it is that might be put in place. But if our security agencies don't take charge. Okay, let's move on to the next conversation. Okay, do you want to say something?
No.
Okay, let's move on to the next conversation that we have tonight. Let's move to Rivers State, where we know that the political crisis there has actually taken a new turn as the state's chief judge has declined a request by the House of Assembly to initiate impeachment proceedings against the Governor Fubara. In a letter addressed to the lawmakers, the chief judge cited the subsisting court orders and a pending appeal. According to the chief judge, the Assembly's requests were accompanied by extensive documentation, but he disclosed that an interim orders expressly restrained the chief judge from receiving, forwarding, considering, or acting on any request, resolution, articles of impeachment, or other communication from the House of Assembly in relation to the impeachment process for a period of 7 days. The decision effectively stalls the impeachment move, at least for now, dealing a significant blow to lawmakers pushing for the governor's removal. Let me ask you first what you make of this before I even get to this issue of the chief judge refusal. What do you make about this back and forth between Governor Fubara and the lawmakers, and how the impeachment has come up again after this, like the third time that this impeachment situation is coming up? And now we have a new development that the chief judge is refusing to set up an impeachment panel. What do you make of this?
It is, and it's so unfortunate. There's a way things will go. You begin to see clearly the cause, the roots. There's a way tree will stand, and you begin to, after every rain, you begin to see the roots, why the tree is standing. Now, this whole thing about Rivers State, very soon, I'm sure the attention Nigeria need to give to this issue, they have not given it. Because we need to know what is the problem. Before the declaration of state of emergency, this was on ground. And after that, in all of this, why, it was said that they are into negotiation, they are into settlement plan and all of that. Now coming back and they are starting another process of impeachment in the name of gross misconduct or whatever. I so fortunate for Rivers State right now. So fortunate. So all I have to say about this is that whoever that is responsible, because we have not been informed on as far as politics or government is concerned, and as far as we as stakeholders, there is nowhere we were told that the governor of Rivers State embezzled and the deputy or did anything. It's suddenly we heard about the impeachment process. So it is best known to the House of Assembly. Now they have also wrote to the chief judge to say, do this XYZ, set a panel and what have you. I don't think these are necessary. It's politics. It's politics. It's politics, please.
Okay, with all of this impeachment process, especially the using River State as a case study, and we also saw sometime in the Lagos State Assembly when the Lagos State House of Assemblies the head of the Lagos State House of Assembly, they wanted to impeach the speaker. And then, of course, we saw how it went, how the president had to come in and all of that. Would you say that impeachment has become too easily weaponized as a political tool in Nigerian state politics?
Yes, yes, thank you. That is the statement I'm supposed to have used. It is, especially when you are not with. If you are against, you'll be impeached. And I recall the one at Lagos State about the Abbas, the speaker, who later I went to Abuja. So I think I saw that picture. It was in Abuja with the president, and before he came back and everything was settled. Nigeria, like I said, what is happening now is so funny. Those who have committed crime, who are supposed to be with the FCC or with the DSS, who are supposed to be in jail, the moment you connect with some certain persons, you are now a good person, no matter what you have committed. And the same way, when you are not weak, you'll find everything possible to bring you down. I think that is what Fubara, although Fubara has joined the APC recently, so maybe his own sin is yet to be cleaned, or I don't know if there's any sin at all, But yes, this issue with impeachment is now a tool with politicians, and it's so unfortunate.
You mentioned the sin of people being kind of erased when they get to join the ruling party, and now Fubara has joined the ruling party. With this is joining the ruling party, do you actually think that this impeachment will see the light of the day?
It will not now. Since they started the process, some persons have been pulling out to the extent that they have even written to the chief judge. If we read it now, that the chief judge refused to accept it. So all of this will also amount to because of his joining the APC. Because if he is not with the APC by now, we will have heard that they are very close to impeaching the governor. So yes, joining the APC as a politician will go a long way to help you, not for the good of Nigerians, though, but as an individual, as a politician. And it's so unfortunate. That is it. That's why you will not hear the issue of Yaya Bello anymore. Many of the kind. That is just the issue with Nigeria. That is what as stakeholders we are fighting. That is what we are talking against to see how it stops. So that they won't be using the masses, the maximum people of Nigeria to run whatever thing they call politics.
You mentioned that some lawmakers actually pulled out, but the lawmakers who pulled out, there were 4 actually. The first 2 came up to say they were no longer a part of this impeachment process. Then another 2 came out again and said they were no longer a part of this. And then some days later, the 4 of them actually said that they took back their words. They retracted their words and said that they are now a part of this impeachment process. And that, of course, this is before this chief judge is coming out now to say that he cannot proceed with this, with setting up the investigation panel. But this is just this delay with this chief judge's case. Do you think it's just something that just would just be just? Of course, the chief judge says just for 7 days. I can't do anything for 7 days. But do you think that this is something that would last longer than that? And do you think it's just?
I don't think. Like what I said, they pull out. Even that they return back and go against their words, I am still seeing they're pulling out. If not them, other people will pull out. It's not something that we are going to take serious. I, as a person, I don't see it as it's going to fly. Yes, I don't see it. Unless Nigeria has changed in terms of politics, because joining the APC means so much for Tinubu, and I'm sure Tinubu himself wants to be re-elected in 2027 in ways and everything possible he will do for that to happen. And All these are distractions. People will still step in. I'm telling you. So whoever that have pulled out and is coming in back is still part of their game. I'm sure it's part of it. Like for the chief judge who said just 7 days, after 7 days they can come back. Let's wait and see. I'm sure that this will not go anywhere.
Okay, you said let's wait and see. Well, let's wait and see actually, and see how the turn of events how the events would turn out in the coming days. But let's move on to something very very important that happened on Sunday actually. And now United States lawmakers have condemned the abduction of over 170 Christian worshippers in Kaduna, warning that the international community will not tolerate the massacre or targeting of religious groups in Nigeria. In a statement, members of the U.S. Congress urged Nigerian authorities to take urgent steps to rescue victims and bring perpetrators to justice, stressing that freedom of worship is a fundamental human right. However, on the ground in Kaduna State, a traditional ruler from the affected area disclosed that the kidnappers have since been reported moving around with their captives through neighboring transit communities, raising fears about the safety and welfare of the victims. Security agencies, after much denial, have confirmed and say search and rescue operations are reportedly ongoing across areas linking Kaduna to neighboring states. The incident has renewed calls for stronger intelligence coordination and decisive action against banditry in Nigeria's northwest. Godspar, let's look at this Kaduna issue. You know, at first, when this happened, 3 churches, they were simultaneously, as in people were kidnapped from that church. And at first, security agencies, the police, the governor actually denied that this was not the case. And then more than 48 hours after, they eventually came out to say that, yes, this abduction took place. And now we've seen that even the U.S. Congress has actually weighed in on this particular issue. What do you make of this? You know, earlier on one of our program shows, we saw someone, one of the Kaduna, he's a citizen of the state, and he talked about how there's fear in this community and how these people don't even trust the security agencies anymore. Because really, how can people are saying some persons are kidnapped, and you're living in denial and saying that no, these people have not been kidnapped. And now we see a village head reportedly say that these people have been seen moving in transit, and you wonder what are security agencies doing if these people have been seen. So how come nothing has been done? What do you make of this? Let me not put words into your mouth.
You don't have to, because like I will always say, it's so unfortunate. This has been what Nigerians have been suffering for a very long time. And it's a shame to our government that even the international community is taking it upon themselves, talking, doing everything they can. Now, let me tell you, this isn't the first time that government security agents came up to say, no, this didn't happen. And at the end of the day, it will just be a show of shame. It happens. 100 plus counting people was kidnapped, and on tour they were going for community, taking them away. So imagine, no security for rescue. Probably the security, they are busy doing something else, escorting people somewhere, doing something else. I don't want to say they are aware. They saw the people say they have handshake with them and pass. I don't want to say that. So the truth of the matter is that our security system has failed. They need to bring everything down and restart or overhaul this process. You know, how can when we talk about 100 persons, not just few persons, and this kidnapper took them from one community. They are trying to have their way to where they want to keep them. You can just imagine how wicked our security agents and our government are. So what I make of this is that I don't want to put side into politics. I don't want to put anything. It is clear this is a fight against humanity, against Nigerians. I am sure maybe majority are Christians, like the message is coming, because we have not heard any mosque is being brought down over in the north. We have not heard I think we have proof to say they are Christians that was kidnapped. So government need to wake up. If they did not, we should not. I don't think anybody would blame the international community for any step they are going to take or they are thinking, because things have to be done. Something needs to be done.
Okay, with this report of 177 abducted worshippers, and it's a very funny situation, sort of, because how can 177 people be? You actually mentioned it as well, be moved from one place to the other, and nobody, no security agency, no, the police haven't been able to get these people, and the military and all of that, and then you just wonder, what are we doing? So what would you say is actually the issue here? Would you say is the security response, or would you say is failing intelligence? Would you say is the late response time, or would you say is lack of political will to actually go and actually see and how to get these people? But before you know it now, you will see that these people are back. And you would hear that they were rescued, and then you ask for yourself, rescued? How were they rescued without any report of anyone being killed? The bandits were not killed. Bandits were not arrested or anything. But what would you actually say is the problem that we have here? Is it failing intelligence? Is it lack of late response time, or lack of political will?
Well, I would take the last one, lack of political will, because I'm beginning to suspect our government is playing politics with all of this. That is the truth. I'm beginning to suspect that. Like you said, or like what we have been saying, where on earth would it be that kidnappers get persons, not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not even 100 more, and they will not transit them on streets, on the bush part or whatever parties or that community, and nothing happened. None of the kidnappers were caught. The people were not released, just like that. And it's like you said, we heard that they have been released. Nobody was arrested. Very soon, we begin to call our government out. Very soon, we begin to tell them face to face that they are the kidnappers. Very soon, because there is no explanation that one can give to what happened in Kaduna. There's no explanation whatsoever. What do we have to say? Does it mean that we have security agents over there? What are they going to tell us? So this is a big unfortunate situation. And like I will say, let the international community do whatever they can. Because that is how far we can go now. Our government has paid us. In an ideal society, this cannot happen. Not that they put them in a car or vehicle, whatever, and drove away. They escorted them for some minutes or hours. Until now, nothing has happened. So you see now, just look at this, and it's a shame, because people are watching all over the world. This is a news, and they keep talking about Nigeria for this reason. I am aware of. Okay, maybe we'll get there. We'll get there.
Well, can you just finish up your line of thought? You were going to say something. You said you were aware of. Can you just go ahead?
I will say it, please. Later.
Okay, let's move on to the last conversation we have tonight. The Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, says the federal government should deliberately target global investors and supply chain relocations to reduce import dependence, deepen manufacturing, and drive job creation. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, who gave this advice while speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, stressed that Nigeria must present clear investment propositions backed by policy, consistency, transparency, and credible reforms, noting the global capital is increasingly selective in a competitive international market. She said Nigeria's size remains a strong selling point, but warned that investors require certainty, speed of implementation, and strong institutions to commit long-term capital. In a related development, Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, dismissed concerns about Nigeria's economic outlook, describing them as overhyped. Tuga disclosed that incidents of insecurity being recorded across the country are isolated cases and not the reality across the country, adding that the government is working with its national partners, including the United States, to target bandits and terrorist groups in their hideouts. The minister told investors that recent macroeconomic reforms, including subsidy removal and exchange rate adjustments, are positioning Nigeria for recovery, even if the short-term outlook appears challenging. Let's look at this statement by Okonjo-Iweala first. She's actually saying that there's a need for the federal government to deliberately, she actually said deliberately, target global investors. What do you make of this? You know, with all of this that is happening, and now she's actually asking, and funnily enough, the Tuga, who is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, he's saying that the security in the nation is not the reality. It's just a one-off thing. And we're seeing so much insecurity. And the minister is saying that security in the nation is just is isolated. That's actually the word he used. It's isolated. You know, what do you make of this?
Well, I think when I told you, and I'm aware, and I thought of, I know we're going to attend to this topic, you know, this issue. That was what I actually don't want to enter it onto this talk. But we're talking about security issues in the north, and that is not just the north. Once it happened in the north, then Nigeria as a whole is having security issues, and they are talking about is isolated or is overhyped. Well, let's leave that. I will still come back to it. Now, the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, she advised, and I think it's left for the government of Nigeria to take this advice seriously, because if he said they should target global investors, it is for the good of the country as far as Nigeria is concerned, and that's a very good advice. You know, global investors and supply chain relocations to reduce import dependence, because these are some of the things why things we have cost goods and what have you. Tomorrow, the duty on some of our products is alarming. That's why one cannot afford them. The common man in Nigeria cannot get solar. If it not for the fact that they are trying to bring some, you know, I don't know how to put it. There are some level of which you can just use to run a small fan and light. That's all. These are because of some of these, you know, investors or people who are really into these things who Nigeria government has not engaged. Now engage them. But the problem is, what is your security stance? If these people they will listen to the country and come in and invest and do XYZ, what are you going to tell them about their security? And somebody as a minister is talking about this overhyped, there's no security. So that is a big lie. We will not deceive any investors to come in here and begin to hear problems. Nigeria need to wake up. The government need to stand tall and fight this insecurity in the country. And the whole world will see, because whatever they are doing, people are seeing it. The minister that is saying the security issue is overhyped and XYZ is just talking on his own because people are seeing it. Now, the social media has taken this thing so far. Whatever is happening in this community, with your phone, you can send it to the world. So why will you be coming and say they overhyped it? Where in the north, everywhere, things are happening. People are not safe. In broad daylight, let me tell you what happened just on the 3rd of this January. In short, in Benin here, it's common for POS, you know, did I say owners? Some of them, they are not the owners. They have been killed and the little money they have right there have taken. These are not done in the night. Close to my office, there's a First Bank. And right there at the First Bank, a POS girl that came out from the back was shot, collected the bag. Not, this was done broadly. Like, I don't think banks used to have police in those days. But now you don't see police anywhere in the bank. It's their security, bank security. They have this special duty police. In those days, I don't know what happened. So many security issues we can outline. Forget about the north. Everywhere this is happening. And you are talking about investors that they shouldn't be afraid the security issue is overhyped. No, it's not overhyped. We need to work on it. That's why we are saying it. Government need to stand tall and see how this is addressed. Because now Kaduna, 100 people plus is missing. They won't escorted them. This is not even a kidnap. I don't know how to put it. They came, they took them, and they walked away. All in the name of kidnap. And you are saying we should bring investors, or you are telling the investor not to mind the issue of security that they are hearing in Nigeria is not true. I don't understand that. Government need to stand tall against insecurity.
Okay, what I hear you say is that there's a need for government to actually ensure that the security issues are being tackled and, of course, seriously and immediately. Thank you very much, God's Power, for being a part of the issues today.
Thank you.
And that's all we have for today's episode of The Issues. We explored the challenges facing Nigeria's politics and governance. Thank you very much for being a part of it. Don't forget to tune in next time for more in-depth analysis and discussion. Follow us on social media to stay up to date on the latest news and insights. Until next time, stay informed. Remember that the views and opinions expressed by our analysts are solely their own and do not reflect that of VOP Media. I am Nnenna Ndamdioto, and this has been The Issues on Voice of the People Television, where the future faces forward. Please don't forget to stay tuned for Hashtag with Vivian by 8 p.m. Don't go away.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is not just a name, she is a face. Born on June 13, 1954 in Ogwashiuku, Delta State, Nigeria, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was raised in a family deeply rooted in education and public service. Her father, Professor Chukwuka Okonjo, was the obi and a respected academic. Her mother, Kamene Okonjo, was a professor and a medical doctor. Ngozi took her academic journey from Nigeria to United States, where she earned a bachelor degree in economics from Harvard University in 1977. Driven by a passion for development economics, she pursued a PhD in regional economics and development at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which she completed in 1981. Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala dedicated 25 years to the World Bank, rising to the position of Managing Director, the second highest role in the institution.
There's an Africa that you don't hear about very much. And sometimes I'm puzzled, and I ask myself why. This is the Africa that is changing, that Chris alluded to. This is the Africa